Hey, what's up, TenfoldFX? This is Kenneth, and I'm back with another video. This video will be titled Momentum Trend Lines. Okay, so momentum trend lines are different to your normal trend lines. Okay, so I find that like a lot of traders, when it comes to normal trend lines, it's rather subjective, and traders can manipulate the trend line to fit what they want to see in the market, whether it touches this week, the first week, second, third, whatever the case may be at a specific point. So it can be influenced and manipulated, and I find that's not as accurate as it needs to be in order to trade the market. So with momentum trend lines, now you won't find this anywhere, even if you Google it or whatever the case may be, you won't find it anywhere. So basically, let me outline this for you. So let's say in a downtrend, we know the market makes lower highs and lower lows, right? But how the market moves, and to a certain degree, okay, we can identify the strength at which that trend is operating. So in this downtrend, we can see that this is a rather steep push and the momentum is strong to the downside, okay? Now, where the momentum will shift is once we break the momentum trend line. But this doesn't mean now that we've broken structure, okay? We could have just come into another area of structure, but the momentum has now shifted. It is no longer in the strong downward push, okay, as it was previously, okay? So the momentum has now shifted, and what we can expect from this is a change in sentiment, okay? We can expect a change in sentiment, and this will obviously give us our first indication that the market is ready to move in the opposite direction, okay? It could either be a retrace, okay, or it could be a full-on reversal, okay? So when we see the momentum line being broken, okay, this is just telling us that either sellers are exhausted or there is an influx of buyers, right? So a lot of buyers have stepped into the market, driving the price higher, shifting the momentum, okay? And what you can expect from there, if it is a complete shift, then you will see a higher low being formed, right? And what does a higher low signify? Higher low is basically the first indication that we are now moving into bullish territory, okay? And once you see that, because it's a characteristic of an uptrend, you expect the market to, continue that pattern, of higher highs and higher lows. So once we see the first higher low, we only get involved once a previous high has been broken, because that is one of the rules of structure. Okay, we need to break a previous high in order to go higher, right? So we will do just that, and obviously break the trend, break the structure over there, and then continue going higher. Now we can run into previous structure points, okay? So we can literally create like a minor uptrend for the pullback of this structure over here, okay? So from this impulse wave over here, this minor uptrend would be the pullback, okay? So price can pull back, break momentum, pull back up into these areas, okay, up into this area over here, okay, in order to collect more sellers or trap buyers, whatever the case may be, and continue pushing down, right? However, this is our first indication, the break of the trend line and the higher low. So this is pips, okay? Understand that this is money, okay? But you just need to understand where it is that you are in the market and what you are looking for. So if you were to get in at an area like this, you would obviously target the highs, okay? For a nice 1:3, 1:4, whatever the case may be, whatever you set your risk to reward, based on your lot size or whatever. So that can basically, this is how it works for like a downtrend. So we can do an uptrend example. Get rid of all of this. So in an uptrend, it's fairly the same, just on the opposite end. So we know that in an uptrend, the market makes higher highs and higher lows. And obviously, we can draw our momentum trend line to identify where the momentum of that market is headed, okay? Now, there's no specific way to draw this. You can draw this through wicks, through candles, whatever the case may be, as long as it is supporting the momentum of price. That's all it needs to be, okay? That's all you need to do in order to draw the momentum trend line. And obviously, once we find that the market breaks the momentum trend line, it doesn't necessarily have to break structure, but if it breaks the momentum trend line, what we can expect is a shift in sentiment. Now, this could be just to a previous structure level, okay? Or we can obviously continue our downtrend, and once we break that, will we then have a change in direction? Okay, because if it doesn't break this previous structure low, what we can find is the market will just find some kind of support in that area and then continue going higher. Okay, and we'll form some kind of consolidation, and like we know with consolidation, we wait for a break, a retest, and a continuation. But the break needs to be a significant one, so it needs to push away and come back after some time, okay, for the continuation. Now, let's look at a few examples of this. Over here we got GBP USD, okay, on the 4 hourly. Now, that again, this works on any time frame, okay. You can use any time frame. You can use your momentum trend lines on any time frame. So as we can see over here, we had a steep push down. We had this small little consolidation area, but then we started to create lower lows and lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. And we can actually take that and draw a momentum trend line down, okay? So basically the market had to stay below this momentum trend line in order to continue the momentum, okay? So it was supposed to push down here and do this to continue with that momentum. But obviously, as we can see by the lows, we created a higher low in this area, telling us that there is not enough sellers to push price lower. Why? Because we need to break a previous low in order to go lower. Okay? So once the momentum trend line broke, we then found a level of support right here, which was kind of at our previous, you can take that one over there. It was right there, so it was basically like a break out of resistance, a retest as support, and a continuation. Now, as you can see over here, we have the impulse push, right? And then we created a minor downtrend, okay? And that downtrend was created just to come back into structure, okay? Into this area of structure right here. See, we didn't break past this previous low. All we did was pull back in a downtrend, okay, to come back into these lows in order to go higher. So we pushed back up into the highs, created a higher low, broke the highs, went higher, okay? Hope that's simple. Let's take all of this off and just get back to the momentum trend line. So as you can see, momentum trend line broke, created a higher low point, and then obviously price broke higher from here. Now with this pullback, as I explained, you could have gotten in at the low, seeing that there was multiple areas of rejection around here, okay? All of those wicks tell a story, and as you can see, once it's outlined, you can see the rejection of sellers and buyers stepping in. Okay, now the same can be done on the opposite end. I know this will be very different and difficult for some people to grasp, but practice it and just do it over and over, and you will literally see what I'm trying to outline here. So here we have another momentum trend line. As we can see, price stayed with this momentum. Even though we pushed strongly up here, we did come sideways to test that momentum trend line and push up. Now, we did not get a significant break higher, a complete breakout. Look at the video wicks and bodies to understand this over here and why that was a clear rejection and not a breakout. And then we had the break of our momentum trend line, created a lower high point, and then pushed further down. Okay, moving on. That was for a downtrend. This is for an uptrend. If we look at this one over here, if you were to follow price around this area, you would see that we had a very strong push to the upside. Okay, so if you're following this, you would have seen there was a very strong push to the upside, and we obviously broke out of our momentum trend line, created a lower high point, and then pushed lower. Okay, but if you were to notice, we did not break below our previous structure. Okay, so this being the impulse, okay, higher low point, and then obviously our higher high, and then we just basically stayed within this range. Okay, we stayed within this range, we did not break higher than that. Price was basically contained within this resistance. So this, all of this action right here, this was our pullback. Okay, that was just our pullback. See, so you need to understand where it is that you are in structure in order to trade this, but as long as you're marking out your support levels and your structure levels, you'll be fine. If we have a look over here, we had another one where we basically continued going up. Price was supported on this area, and as you can see, like here, we did run into resistance, but we did not break the momentum trend line. Okay, that was indicating to us, especially with the exhaustion around this area, that price wasn't done going up. Okay, so once we did break through, we had our last push, which was actually back up into previous structure if you look left. Okay, so having a look at that, we broke out, tested that area we needed to, nice rejection, and obviously we had the break of our momentum trend line. Now, this push was some sort of trend to the downside, but when we came back up into resistance. And again, watch the video Wicks and Bodies to understand that this was not a breakout and merely a test of resistance. Okay, and then we continued to press to the downside, creating lower highs and lower lows after the break of the momentum trend line. Okay, so there was no significant break of structure here to indicate to us that the market would be falling, but a break in the momentum told us that there is a possible retracement, a possible reversal on our hands. Okay, we can have a look at another pair. I think let's go on to, okay, not NASDAQ. Okay, GBP, these ones are fairly similar right now. But as you can see, like when I was trading, I marked out over here the momentum trend line, and as you can see, price was contained within this momentum trend line until we broke out and found a level, a higher low point basically, and then continued our push to the upside. One structure was broken here, we continued going down. Likewise on this side, on a more smaller scale, you can see over here, we had the same scenario where we basically had our resistance over there, and then we broke out, okay, broke out of our momentum trend line, and we pulled back up into the highs. Again, watch the video Wicks and Bodies to understand that this was not a breakout, okay. And then obviously once we break our lows over here, we'll wait for the retest and then continue going to the downside. This was just another retest of the highs and the push to the downside. NASDAQ, this happens a lot on NASDAQ, and you can actually take advantage of your momentum trend lines when it comes to NASDAQ. But it's all about practice. It is a fairly new, some people would say this is a concept. I say this is a literal tool. I've backtested this so much, and I use it every day to trade now. I don't even use Fibonacci's that much because of how strong this is. Okay, but anyway, guys, so that's it for momentum trend lines. Test it out, back test it if you must before you use it. Back test it as much as you can, and just understand the principles of it. And I promise you, your trading will be a whole lot better. Okay, I'll see you guys in the next video.